Your feelings and senses will tell you where the predator is located. If the predator is behind you, you will feel the hair on the back of the neck. If the predator is on the right or left, goose pimples, shivers, or wind will be on.
Hello, everyone. Yeah. Glad to see everyone tonight. We are going to do the next episode of Standing Feather Stories, and we'll start with the verse 2 Timothy 2:15. Study to show thyself approved unto God, a workman that needeth not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. That's 2 Timothy 2:15. We have 3 Facebook pages. Oh, let's go ahead and say the prayer too. Um, thank you, Father, for giving us this platform. Thank you for allowing safe travels through all the journeys that'll be talked about tonight, and for showing us the way that you just weave through the fabric of our lives. It's an amazing testimony that is talked about every time we get together. We thank you and we love you, and we ask for your protection over everyone that's listening, everyone that will listen, and that you bind the eyes, ears, mouths, and keyboards of the enemy, and that you just let everyone learn what they need to learn and give them your discernment. In Jesus' name, amen. We have 3 Facebook pages: Oklahoma Bigfoot Predator Watch, Antlers and Surrounding Areas; Choctaw Missing and Murdered Woman, WOMB, MAN and Son Center and Database, and the Lead Tracker e-page. The first 2 pages factor a great deal into some of the things that we'll talk about tonight. I'm Lead Tracker E, and this is Jerry William, also known as Lead Horse Choctaw. And I've actually asked him to start telling these stories because so many people are interested in them, and they want to know how he came to even begin calling himself a Bigfoot expert. And these stories lead up to that. It's not just an overnight decision, and it's just a really interesting journey, and especially for those with Native American heritage. And there's a lot to be learned through his paths. So,
Well, let me go ahead and get this first picture up here.
We left off in Calais, Maine, in the last story, and that can be found in the other episodes, Understanding Feather Stories. Would you start us from there?
Let me, if we recall, pretty much the last thing that we talked about was crossing the river into Canada. But we also talked about how Standing Feather, the name came to be. And you should go back and watch that first episode. It's in one of the videos. That one's a video. This one will be under the live. If we had another phone or something, or if we had our camera up, we would record this on a different way. But the Standing Feather Stories came to be where at the end of the last one is where I showed up at a sweat lodge, a warrior sweat lodge with different nations, different warriors. And we all sweated together, but I'd found a feather after praying for a little assistance on a trail that I returned on. It wasn't there when I went there, but on the same way I returned, there was a feather sticking out of the ground. It was a eagle feather standing straight up. And at the end of the last episode, I was at a ceremony, a warrior sweat ceremony, and that's where a gentleman had a dream, another warrior had a dream about a man who would be carrying a standing feather that he had been gifted, which I did just the day before. So we're gonna pick up from there. And a lot of people have the problem with us being called the Bigfoot experts. There's a lot of people who say there's no such thing as the Bigfoot experts, but there are, and there are many. A lot of our trackers are experts. They all know what we know. And to be an expert, you would have to know how to read the hieroglyphs and know the history of the world, which we do, and we share here, and we're going to share again today. But all this information, people need to have, and we're just sharing a journey with these Standing Feather Stories. It's different than the tracker meetings and things like that. This is a different thing than the tracking miracles and encounters. We also have another segment or episode thing that we do where we track miracles and encounters, and like what we talked about yesterday about not disregarding the signs and symbols of the divine orchestration and the intervention, and to acknowledge that that all comes into effect. But people who have that problem with us being called Bigfoot experts, we're going to be proven, and we're going to show you how we know how to we know the DNA and things like that. We'll prove all that to you. And you're only going to find it on this channel. No one else is going to know all the things that we do know. But it was a journey also, and that's what we're talking about, the journey. And the things that came to be and how the information was found. And we're going to share that also. But picking up from the last episode, the first one, I just finished with the sweat. That's also where I quit drinking a long time ago, 2009, 2008, that time, 2009. And this was during the Warrior Sweat, 4 rounds. If you ever been in a sweat lodge, that you know it can get very hot but this was a warrior's sweat. So instead of having a few grandfathers, which are stones or the rocks people call, but we call them grandfathers because they're so old, and they was here with the creation. But it's, you usually have with the warrior sweat, you would have 98, something like that, stones or grandfathers, all hot. Um, every round you're asked to stand up as high as you can in that sweat lodge. And if you've ever been in one, they're oval. You can't stand straight up. You'll have to bend just a little bit. But all that heat is collected at the top. And those warrior sweats, whenever you stand up after the praying and singing has been done for that round, you get 4 rounds. That if you was to stand up, it's more or less you're just in an oven, really. There are some ways that a lot of people, younger people or new people to the sweat lodge, if it gets too hot for you, some will lay on the ground, but you never lay on your back. You only lay on your stomach. You never turn your back on the earth. You always lay on your stomach. But you can get down close to the edge of the canvas, and there's your little air pockets. I've seen people get down there and breathe air, especially the young ones and the children, because it does get hot in there. And if you're not used to something like that, some people do get really nervous about things like that. Some people have died in sweat lodges, but not because of the original people or what people would call Native Americans, but it was other people. I remember there was a doctor that did a lodge. We're going to check on a noise. We always want to know what the sounds are around us. We are in occupied areas, if you would talking about with Bigfoots, but they shouldn't be up here around now. But so this information that we're sharing is a long journey. I'll go ahead and start with that. And this is all leading up to being an expert in Bigfoot. But all this information wasn't intended for Bigfoot. There was other creatures that we were looking at, and spiders and things like that, but we'll get to that. So after I didn't cross over, and everybody was asking if I did at that time, and no, I did not cross over, but I did the huge river. I didn't cross over there at that time, but I'm going to show this picture real fast, and I'm going to read it out if we can see it from here for you. We were at Calais, Maine, and this is also when the reason I went up there was protesting the idea that Obama had in 2009 that all the Indian people had to have passports to cross into Canada or back from Mexico and things like that. And if you're Indian, you understand that it's our land or it belongs to us, so we don't have to have passports and identification and pass cards and things like that. But the way society dictates with people here, the people who are not living in the District of Columbia, and that one little section is called the District of Columbia, which that is the United States. And if they're not in that area, then yes, they need a passport to be around the land. But I went up to cross that line and let them know that those with the Jade Treaty, if anybody understands the Jade Treaty, that is between the colonists and the or the British and the French, I think. But those borders were for the British and the French to not fight, to separate. You're French, you're gonna be over here. The English are gonna be over here. But this wasn't supposed to affect the Indian people. who lived there. But as time progressed, it became that way. But that's only because people forgot the trade treaty and that we're supposed to be allowed to travel freely and unrestricted and unmolested. So I'm going to show this picture because that's what I went up to do. And then we met with the other tribe people, and that's how we got into the Standing Feather Stories and the Warrior Sweat. Let me put this up real fast. Hopefully I can read it also. Pretty small. Okay. I'm not sure what that. Okay. I'm on a smaller screen here, but let me see if I can read this. Oh, it was right there. Okay. No wonder we couldn't see it. But it says Choctaw test new passport in Calais, Maine for friends in the North and South. June 2nd, 2009. Calais. Although traffic flowed softly most of the morning as custom officials enforced the new requirement Monday for U.S. citizens to show passports or pass cards to re-enter the country. There was one glitch. An American Indian lead horse, a Choctaw Indian from Oklahoma. And that was the newspaper article that you can find in the Calais, Maine, or the Bangor, Maine archives, or even Google it. Choctaw test passport rule in Calais, Maine, and that should come up also. So this is a trail showing you that we were in those spots and doing what we're talking about. So I met with another friend right after that in Bangor, Maine, and we decided that we was watching to see who was protesting at that time, who was protesting the borders and seeing what's going on. And we looked across, and there was a couple tribes protesting, not all of them. There was one tribe that was protesting, but they had actually kicked off the border guards off of their island that's in their territory. And that's also a place where people know that even across that river, that's their territory, that's their ancestors, that's their ancestral land. And that's why there's always a big dispute and debate about us traveling freely on our land or getting arrested or detained for traveling on our land freely. It's because people don't understand the history and how things came to be. But this tribe was protesting at that time, and they were asking for help for supplies, food, gas. They had kicked the border guards off of the island that is an international corridor, I guess you'd say, a tradeway. But the Mohawk people up there had shut down that border, kicked the border guards off because they didn't have weapons, but they were supposed to get weapons at that same time. But they had already been beating people, raping, and killing. And that's with the Canadian Mounted Police, the Border Patrol, those guys. So I asked a friend of mine, and he was Navajo, asked him if he'd like to go and help, these people because they were asking for assistance on firewood and things like that. And we talked about how we could go over there and just, cut wood for them and help them out that way. The least we could do that. We looked into a little bit more of that, and we found out that it was just the older people, the elders, who were holding down the fort. The young ones were carousing around, didn't care about the situation. A lot of them are misinformed, and they leave it up to other people to do things that they need to do. So we had called over to the Mohawk people, and we'd asked them if it'd be all right if we came to help them, and they said yes. So we told them, let your people know that we were on our way, except we didn't have funds at that time because we were still protesting things. And when you're protesting, if you've ever protested, which now we use the word protect and guard, we don't use the word protest anymore. Your protectors and your guardians. And that's the thing that we started with Standing Rock, is that you don't use the word protest, you use the word protect or guardian or stewardship. But so we had mentioned to them that we don't have the funds right now, but we will get it, and that we will be on the way, and we're going to come and help. So I talked to a woman named Nona. The elders, they would have meetings once a week on the island that they were holding. They asked, or she stood up in one of the meetings and said that there's a Choctaw and a Navajo coming to help us. And so the people are like, okay, great, we got Navajo and a Choctaw coming, that's great. But we still hadn't got the money yet. So, and we were looking for cans, any kind of work we could get, trying to build up the money for the 2 bus tickets. Plus, still we had to live and still we had to eat while we were still there trying to get it. So it was a little slow process, but we came up with the funds. But we'd already talked to our friend 2 or 3 times, and Nona got up in a meeting again the next week and said they're still on their way, they're coming. She did that the week after again, said they're still on their way, they're still almost here. And then she said the 4th meeting she didn't stand up. She wasn't as confident, I guess you would say, that we were really coming. But we had actually just got enough money for 2 bus tickets. And we bought our bus tickets, and we had some bologna, peanut butter and syrup, and we had a loaf of bread, and we had some bottled water and some, I think, some M&Ms or something. But we said, okay, that'll get us there, because it's only like a day and a half ride or something. And we said that'll get us there. But at that time, we didn't have cell phones at that time, and like I said, we didn't have much at that time because we was protesting and just living with what we had and the bare minimum. So we had sent an email to let Nona know that we're on the way. We don't know where we're going, but we knew their town or the area. And so we got on the bus and we took off, hoping that email got through to them. Whenever we got to that town, the Greyhound bus driver told us that there was no bus stop there, no Greyhound bus stop there, but they could drop us off at this 24-hour speed mart, which was good for us. And once you get onto a reservation, curiosity, word of mouth happens pretty quick. And so we went into the speed mart, and we're asking about the island. We want to go to the island. We're looking for a ride if anybody's going that way. Nobody was going that way at that time, but they did tell us it was 5 miles down the road, and we had just got through with the longest walk too. I think we talked about that last time a little bit. And so we were used to walking, and 5 miles is not long at all for anybody really. So we decided to walk to the island. We took off walking, and there was a casino off to the right about a mile down the road. So we went up there looking, maybe we could find a ride there. As soon as we got up to the casino, they checked our bags in because we had our backpacks and can't go into a casino with that. And right away, they gave us some free game play just to pass the time, because we talked to them and that we're just looking for a ride to the island, which they understood. They're all from a reservation, so we sat down to, kill time and drink a Coke or whatever. One young man came up and he said that, I hear you're looking for a ride and that you're from Oklahoma. And I said, yeah. And he said, well, I'm from Oklahoma too. I've got a wife up here. I said, oh, okay, great. And he goes, but I'll take you, as soon as we get off work. I said, okay. And then another person came up and they offered, take us after work. And then the security people came up to us and said that there was two women looking for us, and they were out in the parking lot or they're in the lobby. So my friend and myself walked over in that direction, and we didn't see anybody in the lobby, so we walked outside, and there was a car out there. Nobody was in it, so we turned around, and the two ladies were coming out because they found out that we were outside. They came out, and one of them asked my friend Lando if she said lead horse, and I said no, I'm lead horse, my friend Lando, and he said the same thing. And she said, I'm the Bear Clan mother. And I said, oh, okay. And in Indian societies, the clan mothers are held with the highest esteem. And the other woman was Nona, and we got to meet each other and talk for the first time. And they said that they would take us to the island and let everybody know that we're in and that we're here to help. And the island is over what they would call in Canada, which I told them that we had problems crossing, or I had problems crossing, and that I didn't want to cause a disturbance. So I thought we was going to cross by boat, because that's once they kicked everyone off the island, the international bridge shut down. So now no cars are going over back and forth. You have to go through with by boat at that time. And that's what we knew at that time. But now they had let up a little bit, and they're letting local people pass through. So we're riding with the clan mother, which they know her, so there wasn't no problem for us to just go on through. So we're in Canada now, is what people call it. The tribal people there, the Mohawk people, say that's just across the river. That's still our land. There's no border. So we got on the island, and they had started building a shelter or a small building. There was a huge tent where they had meetings, and there was food in there, and people had helped bring in food and supplies for the protest, for the stand, to hold that ground. The clan mother brought us in and introduced us. There was other warriors from different areas around the fire. They asked me, what I was going to be doing, and my friend also. We talked about just cutting wood and helping out. There was a small stack of wood that was keeping the fire going, and that fire was supposed to be 24 hours. And so we got to eat and meet with some people. We talked about, old things like the longest walk and things like that we've done in the past. Luckily, there were people there who knew us from other things that we had done in the past. So that was their vouch. They were vouching for us, really, because in a protest and places like that, there's always informants. There's always people trying to infiltrate teams or infiltrate groups to find out the leaders, to get them arrested, to get them taken out so that the place breaks down. So they're always cautious and always curious. And I've been to a lot of them. I've had people run background checks on me, FBI checks. I do have an FBI number, but that's because of all the protesting and being arrested in certain areas and things like that. So there were some people there who knew us, so they gave us a good vouch. These people, lead horse, Lando, they're who they say they are. They've helped a lot of people. They're at a lot of protests. They do a lot of standoffs. Some armed, some not. It just depends on how the aggression is. But that vouching for us, and that night, a man came over while we was at the fire. An older gentleman pulled up in his truck, came over to the fire, and looked at us, and he said, "I hear you're here to cut wood." And if anybody knows me, they know that I've been cutting wood since I was a kid. Really, um, worked a lot of landscaping places. I'm very good with the chainsaw. So I said, "Yeah, we're here to help you out and cut some wood." And there was just a little bit of stack of wood left, and there's a lot of people around the fire and everything. So he said, "Okay, well, I'll be back tomorrow daylight." And we said, "Okay, well, we'll see you at daylight." And um, so we got to sleep, got to meet the people there. We slept um, in a inside of a building, actually, that makeshift building. It wasn't completed, but they didn't know us. We just showed up, and that's basically all they had, at that moment. Which we had our sleeping bags and things like that, so it wasn't a big deal. We're used to being on the road anyway. And so daylight time, we were up, we were ready. Here comes that gentleman again, and he's, I would say, about 70 years old at that time. He came up, he had a tractor. I mean, he drove his old tractor up, and he had gas and chainsaws in the bucket. We're waiting there. We're drinking coffee by the fire. We're keeping that fire going. And he comes over and has some coffee. We, talk for a little bit. Then he said, "I want you young men to come with me." And, I'm mature age. But so we walked around the building with him, and he said, "You see that stack of wood over there, or the stack of poles over there?" I said, "Yes, a little bit of wood over there." And he goes, "Well, that wood's been over there for about 3 months. Nobody's cut it. Do you think you can get it?" And me and my friend Lando, which Lando's not the most hardest worker, I guess you would say. He's a great guy, but strenuous work is not his thing. But he will work. He will do what he can. And so I said, "Yeah." I said, "That'll be good." So we walked over there, and I'm getting the chainsaw out. I'm, getting it ready, sharpening. The guy's looking at me because I guess he's not expecting me to, take care of the chainsaw like I was and getting it ready. And so he said, "Well," he said, "whenever you guys are ready, we'll start." We said, "All right." So, these were good chainsaws, so it was easy to cut. And I've been cutting for a long time, so I'm just like zip, 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 zip. And I'm throwing wood out. And my other friend Lando, he's starting to pick up the wood and throw it into the bucket. And I'm still cutting, kicking, throwing things, kicking, pulling things out. And I'm cutting fast. I'm like, and just certain ways that you use the chainsaw to cut faster. And so we finally get that bucket filled up. And he goes, "All right, well, I'm going to run over here and dump this, and I'll be right back." And if everybody knows how fast the tractor goes when you don't have to go fast, he was just kind of making his way. Tractors will go a lot faster, but so he's just making his way over there, and he dumps that, and he comes back. So, but when he pulls up, we stop what we're doing and start chunking the wood into the bucket, filled up real fast, and go back to cutting. And so he's trucking back again, same speed. And so we keep doing that till we have a lunch break. And by this time, there's piles of wood over where we're at. He's got one in his tractor. He said, "Let's go have some lunch." He's taking off with a bucket load. We've got a big pile started at the fire. This older gentleman makes a phone call after that while we're having lunch and everything. So we're going back out to the pile. It's after lunch. We're ready to get back started. Next thing we know, there's a guy walking up with a chainsaw. And we stop, and he goes, "My name's Rooster." I said, "I'm Lead Horse." And he goes, "I hear you're cutting wood over here." I said, "Yeah, it looks like it." And I said, you cut wood, you got a chainsaw? He goes, oh yeah, I'm pretty good. So, oh, okay. All right, well, let's get it. And so right after that, it was a Mohawk, a Choctaw, you know, just a race. Now it's turned into a competition, and he's got his own saw, and he's good too. So now Lando's only job is to throw that in while the other guy goes down and comes back, so he don't have to do anything really. And sometimes we'll stop and help him load it up real fast, and we just kept cutting and kept cutting, and it was just a race all day. And it wasn't long after lunchtime that we had all that pile cut. We had all the wood over at the fire. People are now starting to bring us a splitter because now we're going to split all that for them. People are starting to show up because they're seeing people out here. It's like a competition going. We're just throwing wood. Saws are going. Tractors are going. It's on an island, so anyone going past that four corner area is going to see what's going on. And if you ever been on a reservation, one phone call, you know, you're calling aunts, uncles, neighbors, cousins. They're calling their friends. Everyone on the island knows that you're there doing that in just a small period of time or any time. So we finished that up that day. I mean, we were done with the cutting and everything before lunchtime. I mean, before dinner. And after dinner, we continued to split wood until nighttime, until you know, everyone was going their own ways, and people were setting up for security because they're still holding the island. So you still have to have a 24-hour security there and a couple of people. The one of the guys who was there helping, he talks to Lando and myself, and he said, would you like to come to the house and take a shower, get cleaned up, and we'll bring you back? We said, yeah, that sounds great, because, you know, we were dirty and sweaty and everything. There is another warrior, I think he was Onondaga. He got kind of upset, you know, after this guy's talking to us. And he goes, man, that's kind of messed up. And, you know, there's a lot of tribes there helping. And he's like, why is that? He goes, because none of y'all have asked me to go to the house and shower up. I've been having to shower up over here. And these guys show up one day. And the guy who asked us, he looked at him and he goes, yeah, but you didn't do what these guys did. These guys came to work. You're just watching the fire. And there's certain things like that. If you do and, you know, do things like that, other tribes take notice to who's working and who's not, who's doing whatever. But so we went to shower, cleaned up. They got us. Now the next day, you know, we slept in that little tent again. The next day they wheel in this. It's a construction company kind of camper. You know, it doesn't have anything in it. They brought cots in there and they put beds in there for us. They put us a little heater because it's wintertime too. But they're fixing us up a little home, little house, while all these other warriors who were there before us are still outside in the tent, out in the by the fire, you know, all trying to stay warm. But they actually got us a little camper kind of thing, office kind of shelter thing. We made it into like a home thing, warm, comfortable, pillows, everything. But every morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, this man would show up. And every morning we would get up and we would go work. We would go cut wood all day. We'd bring out back trees and logs. And there was one woman who wanted us to cut a tree. And we're asking anybody who wants, because we want to keep this fire going for the protest for the people. There was one woman who said we could come and cut one of her trees down that they needed it cut down for the longest time. And so, and it's a big oak tree, and she's there with her daughter and son-in-law, and she's in a wheelchair, nice woman, and she's telling us what tree needs to come down, and it's okay, we'll get it. And it's a big tree. I mean, it's like huge, round, and so we start cutting that tree, and we're going to drop it just a certain distance. And whenever we got it to finally pop, you know, when you hear that pop, you know it's just about to come down. That's when you start getting out of your way, or use your ropes if you need to pull it a certain way, and you rope it real high. Well, when it popped, it was Rooster, that same guy. I'm gonna blame this one on him. But he had actually almost got his saw stuck when that pop happened, and luckily we could get in there just in time to pull that one out, because it started spinning off of his saw, and when we pulled it out, it still had a small turn. And so the house is right here. We planned on dropping it right here, but with that little turn, it started turning this way. It started coming at the house. The woman in the wheelchair is on the second floor, so she's got the best view of this tree that's coming right at her. And this is the story she told us. She said that once she seen that tree coming straight down at her, she turned her wheelchair sideways and started moving down the hallway. You know, she was, I don't want to say she was getting after it, but she was getting out of the way. She was getting out of the way, and she was laughing at this afterwards. There's always stories where we're going to laugh afterwards. But at that time, she seen that tree pop and turn, and it was coming this way, except we had ropes, and we was pulling because we knew that pop had shifted it. So we was pulling over here as hard as we could, and it finally just enough to miss the house. And it was just enough. And yeah, we're out there cutting the wood up and getting the trees and the limbs down first. And she's in the wheelchair. I don't know how she got downstairs because she's on the second floor. She must have had a slope or something. I don't know, but she made it outside just to tell us that she was rolling down the hallway because that tree was coming. But we would cut wood like that for the neighbors and everybody we could all day, every day. From time I got picked up at 6 o'clock in the morning to the time we got back about 4 in the afternoon, and we may be coming and going all day and splitting wood. We would eat dinner at 5 o'clock. We'd take our lunch with us, but the older people would have dinner ready for us at 5. They would make us eat even if we were still working. They would tell us, come eat, stop what you're doing. We would eat with them, and then they would let me go to sleep. Me and Lando go to sleep until around 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, because the older people, the elders, were the ones who was holding the fort down. The younger people were still crowding, running around, no responsibilities. The youth needed more guidance there. But
how long did that happen? How long did that go on?
We did that for 3 months straight, 3.5 months straight of just cutting wood and doing everything. The elders asked us to pull security for them and help them also that way. They're very happy with what we were doing because we were stocking wood up for them. But my Navajo friend woke up one of the mornings about 2 months in and said, can we do anything else? Can we go look around?
I didn't see an end to it.
He wanted to do more things outside, than just cut wood every day for, 10, 12 hours a day, for months on end. And so I said, well, it's okay if you do, that's great. I came here to do this. But we also got to help with the youth and share our ceremonies and how we did our ceremonies, how we had our prayers, how we played our stickball games, our war games, what they were about. We got to share the information with all the youth and certain medicines for certain ceremonies. in this same area. This is also where I got to start learning about astrology, hieroglyphs, ancient languages, ancient symbols, the alphabet, um, numbers, the meaning of everything, really. We had groups that would come together, like this person would have all of the Egyptian knowledge. This person would have all of the sky map knowledge. This person right here would have the natural herbs that would heal people. This one would have uh, ceremony information and how ceremonies are done and when they're done. This one would have, information on um, Coptic languages or picture languages or history. Um, some people would have other ceremonies that would bring other ceremonies in, like the peyote ceremonies, the churches, and things like that. All those meetings that we had, we got to sit around and trade information and sit around and talk, kind of like what we're doing now. We're just sitting around and talking, really, and telling the story of how this all came to be. But in those conversations, those were the information and the things that I was looking for. I was just up there helping people with their protests, helping them stand their ground. But I was also gathering knowledge from all the elders, from anyone who had information on the history of why things are, of uh, the ancient languages, of our ancient languages, of our ancient symbols, um, star language, the star knowledge, all the constellations. I wanted to know everything. And people in this area had that information. Now, with all that information, like one word would lead me to another word, or I'd have to go find a book that had that information in it. I would go to libraries and ask for these books, and they wouldn't have them. And they have a circuit of different libraries that they work with. It's not just that library. So they would look for these certain books, and they'd say it's not in our system, but we can send off for it and we can get it for you, but it'll take about 2 weeks and they don't come in. So the libraries would help me with that information. I would get those books, like The Collision of Worlds. I think his last name is Collins. That's a good book to read. Um, that will give you a very good look at some true history that a lot of people don't know about. Um,
Did any of the people there have any texts or books themselves, manuscripts? Or...
People in the north, they had not their own information. They did about their languages and where they come from and things like that. But as far as uh, they had star language or star stories, and that's why they knew so much about the stars. They said they were star people. They came from the stars. They studied the stars, so they knew the stars. So that information was also gathered and given to me in our talks with them. And all this information has to be known so that you know what our next segment is going to be about. But so I'm also with the youth. Um, with the youth and some, if in warrior societies and medicine societies, um, sometimes you're given warrior tasks to do something. Uh, could be go get an eagle from a live eagle. It could be go gather this medicine for this person, and that medicine can be on a high cliff or a place like that. So societies do give and test the young ones also. So I'm with one of the youth, and it's a young guy was teaching ceremonies and how we play our stickball games. Great guy, great singer, knows the language, his language. But he asked me about this certain medicine, and I said, "Yeah, I know where that one is." And but it's pretty much up in the mountains in a river. And he said, well, I need to get some of that. I said, oh, okay, well, we can probably go this weekend then. So he showed up on the weekend. That was his task that he needed to get. I said, all right, well, we'll go up there. And we took the vehicle and drove up there. As soon as we pulled up to this area where I knew I'd never been in there, but I knew where this medicine was. It's the white lotus off the lily pads, and there's all pink ones also, but the white one is the specific one that he needed. So we pull up to that area, and as soon as we pull up, a man pulls up also, because people do have riverfront property, and sometimes you have to ask permission, but a lot of native people have been gathering medicines in that area for a long time, so they have an acquaintance with the people in that area, that they understand that sometimes they're going to come, that our people are going to come and tap from maple trees. We may be getting the ferns, the fiddle ferns. We may be gathering these medicines and things like that. So there's a love-hate relation, but most of the people they understand that the Indians are just there to get what they need, which that is what we were there to do. So we pulled up there, and a gentleman come out, and he said, or drove up, got out and talked to us, and he said, well, this is the riverfront. A certain person owns this, but there is a beach area just a little bit down the road. And I explained we're here for this medicine, that white flower out there, and that he had said that other people had come out before, but he also said that is a snake area. You really don't want to be out in that area. It has snakes. I want to show you that area real fast. This is the young man that had the task of gathering the white flowers. If you can see, you'll see a couple of flowers way out there that we're going to have to get to. But the gentleman who was talking to us told us that there are snakes out there. Be very careful out there. The young man who was with me, he gave me that look like, this guy's saying there's snakes out there, and you're saying let's go swimming. And so I said, don't worry about it. I said the serpents, anything that in there, they're also going to be watching us. And if they see that we're out there, just trying to tear things up, or doing or swimming, or going through these areas that we shouldn't be in, because that's their habitat as far as the snakes, that they're not going to bother us if we just go and get that medicine, go get that flower, and come right back. They're not going to bother us. Don't worry about snakes. Don't worry about anything like that. The young man still had that look of, ooh, okay, but he just said there's snakes all in this. And but I said, just don't worry about it. Let's just keep moving. Let's go do what we're going to do. Let's see if I got that on there. I don't see the other picture on here, but so I told the young man that this is your task. This is what you're supposed to be doing. I don't, that's not for me. That's not the medicine that I need. This is your task. So if you don't want to go get it, that's you're here. But he just kind of looked at me, and I said, but if we're going to do this, don't worry about it. These snakes ain't going to hurt you. I said, but if you want to do this, just follow me. We'll go in, we'll go get it, you collect it, and then we'll come back. And so, man, the gentleman, I don't have the other picture. I wish I did. I thought I had it. But he enters into the water, He stays right behind me. I thought I had that picture here, but he stays right behind me. We go out and get that medicine for him. He comes back. We're dirty because that water is filthy. All the lilies and the vines, everything that you touch on the ground feels like a snake. It feels like it's slimy because you got to pull yourself too sometimes. And so if sometimes it feels like you're grabbing a snake and pulling. We returned after we gathered the medicines. We went to the swimming area. And right after that, because we were still dirty and mossy, we went into the swimming area and started kind of a makeshift kind of bath, kind of cleaning off. As soon as we got cleaned off and we're coming out of the water, the young man, looks at me and he says, before we went into that water, I was scared. I didn't want to go. I was scared. But then, you said follow you and that everything would be okay. And he goes, but I was still scared, even though I followed you. But we went in there and got what we did. And when I came out of that water, as soon as I got out of that water, I thought to myself, I was scared, or that was scary. But then he said, but then I thought, but that was kind of cool too. that the serpents didn't harm us, that we did exactly what we needed to do.
Could we show them the pictures of the wood piles too?
Oh, yeah. And so those are some things that we were helping with the youth also. And so I'm getting ready to leave because I have to leave that area, come back home and share information before I journey again. I told everyone that I needed to go home, but I didn't have the money to get home. But the people gave us shelter, they gave us food and water, they gave us places to take showers. All we had to do was work, but we didn't work for money. We just worked to help keep that fire going. So on the day that I'm needing to leave, or the day before I'm about to leave, the people got together and said, we're going to have a dinner for you. And thank you for your work and for your friendship and your support. So during that day, I took a picture of some of the wood that we were working for. This one's a little bit earlier in the month, and this one is pretty much around the finishing time. They only had a small stack of wood in the beginning, and when I left them. This doesn't even show the comparison of the wood. The wood is still back further to the left, back further to the right. There's still more piles behind that one straight ahead. I think
you had some delivered at people's homes too, right?
And some were sent to people's homes to help them through the winter. We filled their entire yard up with as much wood as we possibly could to keep them supported because we couldn't be there anymore. And still with giving them all that support and working every day for them, we didn't raise any money. We weren't working for money. It's all just to help the people stand up and stay with their protest. That the elders, it wasn't the youth, it wasn't the younger, it was always the elders who was leading this group, who was leading that standoff. These were like and for me, I would call them the last holdouts, the last traditional people, the last keepers of the knowledge. They were more than happy to share their knowledge, to keep it going, to keep it passing on. That's what we're doing also. We're sharing all this knowledge. And we're telling you the journey of how all this came to be. So the elders had gotten together and asked me to come to a dinner. They're going to have a blanket dance for me at the very end. a big dinner, and I get to take as much food as I want to with me on the bus. They're going to take me to the bus station. They had a big dinner. They had and then they sung some traditional songs, and they had their blanket and went around. And people knew I was leaving, and I had made a lot of friends in that 3 months, 3.5, because they were there every day, and I got to talk to them, or we worked together, so we got some good friendships. I'm going to show a picture of that ending there with them. This is a picture of the youth, and I mean the the elders in that area, clan mothers in there, heads of families, leaders of the communities, and there's even a bad person in this film where that photo where the smokestack is coming out. That person, that female there, is an infiltrator, and that's why we talk about infiltration. She's also infiltrated some of the Honduras people. She was also around the longest walk area people infiltrating.
What was she? What was her purpose?
Her purpose was to collect information on the heads of the people who was running the outfits, I guess you would say, the leaders of the communities, the leaders of the protests. Her job was to get information from who those people were, pictures of them, what they looked like. She would send that out. She'd been caught in different areas.
What was the response of the youth while you were doing all that work? The ones that should have been cutting all the wood, and did they ever come out and help?
The youth did start coming out after about the second month. I guess the elders got on to their grandkids and got on to their sons and daughters and said, "These guys are up here cutting wood every day. We need y'all up there. And we don't want to be embarrassed by these guys coming up cutting wood whenever we have eligible and healthy individuals and people who can be doing this." So they were a little upset, and more people came out, which that gave us the opportunity to talk with youth and help and share traditions and songs and ceremonies. That freed us up because now they're coming in, they're splitting the wood, and the elders are telling them, y'all split that wood. We're going to talk to these guys by the fire. They would make us come over and sit down. They said, you've worked, you come sit down and let those guys do all that work and stuff. So
how does that fit in with what we were talking about last night with the warriors' duties?
The warrior duties, especially from the night before, what we was talking about, I was under the misconception. There's a lot of misconceptions that were told and taught. One of the biggest ones is that the Bigfoots are friendly, that they're forest people, protectors of the forest, whatever. That's the biggest misconception. These things are predators. They will eat anything that they can get their hands on. And we do teach that also. Another misconception that we talked about the other night is that warriors' responsibilities and duties are not to cut the wood for the community, not to cut wood for the elders, not to get the water for the elders, not to watch the children and take care of the village afterwards. Warriors have one responsibility, and that is to be a warrior. That's your only job. That cutting wood takes away from your responsibility. That cuts away from your strength, your readiness, and your alertness. There are other people in the community who can cut wood. There are other people in the community who can bring food to the elders. And there are other people in the community who can haul water. A warrior's duty is to protect the water, the people while they're hunting, the village, any activity. Those are duties for the warriors. Your jobs are to protect the people and to protect each other, your other warriors. You all have to know the same thing. There was another story that we forgot to talk about but we're leading you into that right now.
Yes.
So I also with the youth, um, getting that chance to work with the youth, I did get a chance to show how to make our traditional stickball sticks, our war sticks. I would have to visit an Amish community to have them cut the wood for me. They were the cheapest workers at that time, who would cut the wood for me, especially. They very good people. The Amish kids, ran barefoot. They're connected to the land. They spoke German, which I speak a little German, so I did get to communicate that way also. But I would ask them to cut lumber for me and wood, so I could teach the youth how to make our traditional stickball sticks or war sticks for our war games. And these are good sticks. I taught the ball how to make the ball, and while we play the game, ancient game, sacrificial game, also goes back to uh, these predators that came in, and why we had to have those sacrificial games.
We'll have to do a standing feather story on just the stickball.
Just
also.
the stick, well, yeah.
Um,
And so I'm getting to know the Amish community. I've bought pies from them, uh, gave them rides, and things like that. I knew one of the Amish guys who cut the wood. He was the only one that I took wood to. So we got a decent acquaintanceship, I guess. We weren't friends, and things like that. We always kind of razzed each other. Like when I needed some wood cut one time, he was talking about how other people are lazy. Uh, even Indians. He goes, even Indians are lazy, and he said other people are lazy, and us Amish, we work all the time, and we're doing this. We're in the hay fields. And I said, okay, well that's great. I said, well, I'll be here tomorrow morning. Get that wood cut. He goes, well, wait, tomorrow's Sunday. We don't work on Sundays. I said, oh, okay. Well, I'll be here Monday about 6 in the morning. He goes, well, make it about 9 o'clock. Make it about 9 o'clock because we got some things we're going to be doing. And then I don't know. And now I asked the guy, I said, well, why don't you tell me when you're able to work and I will show up then? And so those are things that we just, we'd razz each other and things like that. And we'd joke, about, their kids and things. And but, I would go get wood and things like that. Now, I'm also doing a lot of protesting. I'm also stopping pipelines in other areas also. I was also in this same area that we're talking about. This is the same area where I stopped at one of the pipelines, and I was offered $3 million annually each year if I was to step out of the way, shut up, turn my back, never protest again, and to not help these people also because I'm a strong figure and I've done this for quite a while, so I know the tactics and what to do, what works, what don't work. And so I turned down that $3 million a year, which I was looking at it, and I would have $36 to $39 million right now if I turn my back on every viewer here too. We blanked off there, but I was saying that if I turn my back on my people, on the people that I was helping, and all the people that was going to be affected with that pipeline and the problems that they have, but I couldn't do that. That's not enough money for me to lower myself in any situation like that. Money's not something that I would take over anything. But so I'm stopping a water line up there. And by this time, the tribe in that area doesn't like me whatsoever. I'm not a sellout. I don't conform.
This
I
is
don't
a different
agree.
area.
Well, it's the same area. It's the same area. But you gotta understand, there's traditional and there's more civilized Indians, and civilized Indians are more corporate, and those are the ones you got to watch out for because
So,
they're sold out and they will use any kind of statute, code, or policy or anything to get you out of the way. They don't mind lying on you, false reports, which I've had a lot of false reports on me. But I'm stopping a water line in this area because it has GPS. The water line doesn't have to be changed, but the government wants to put it in this reservation so that it's put at strategic places, the longhouses, where the medicine people are, where the strongest heads of people are. That's where these GPS locations are going. So I get arrested by the tribe for stopping that pipeline. I spent 3 months in there. I did not take the TB shot, so they put me in solitary confinement for 3 months straight. But in that solitary confinement area, other people come in, that's their initial 3-day stay. Once they do their 3 days, they go out into the general population. But this is also the TB ward where they get their shot, they come in, wait for a reaction. If not, they send them in, but you're still injecting yourself with TB. So that entire time I had my shirt up or a mask or, because I know that virus is around there and that people are being injected and coming into that area. So I have to watch myself for those entire 3 months. The jails don't like me because I'm not conforming. In 3 months, I think I got 6 or 8 showers, maybe once a week or something like that. They just they wanted to make life as miserable as possible for me. They told me that if I took the shot, I could have showers every day. I could watch TV. I could walk around the jail cell. And I said, I don't even want to be here, much less watch TV here. I don't want to live here. And but there was also Indians in that would walk by, and they knew that I was the only one that didn't take that TB shot. They would always walk by and knock on the window and wave. And when they finally knew I was getting out, they were giving the strong symbols and waving, and because I was the only holdout, I was the only problem there. So people are coming and going. I'm meeting people for 3 days, and I've been through these in jails, a lot of jails because of protesting. So I know the rules. I know what they can and can't do. I know how to not get into the system, really. But people who were coming through there were young people who don't know anything about law, who don't know, what they can and can't do. So I was helping them also with their next step of what they need to do and how to get out of certain things legally and what to look for and what to ask for. So I'm helping people go through this. I'm talking with people. And for that 3 months, people are coming and people are going. About the second month I was in, a young man came in there and he was rude, obnoxious. There was other people like that too. And you could hear some of them yelling at each other, I'll do this to you. And they were also victims of themselves, of just trying to be the tough guys, but then break down and saying, why is my mama not calling me? Why is my girlfriend not calling me? And I'm thinking, well, if you're this big tough guy, why are you crying because your mom didn't call you at 4 o'clock? She called you at 5 and you was crying. So I'm talking with this gentleman. They let me out to take a shower. So I get to take a shower, and this other man's out in the open kind of area. And so they're not in that building. So I sit down. There's a TV up there, a table. I'm just stretching out there before I have to get back into my cell whenever they come back and make me get in there. So this gentleman, or this young man, I'm not going to say gentleman, this young man sat down with me. And we just started talking. He goes, so what are you doing after this? I'm like, I don't know. No plans. And he goes, well, do you want to make some money? I was like, well, you always use some money. And he said, I know how we can make $100,000 each. And I was like, oh yeah, that sounds pretty interesting. And he said, but what we're going to do is we're going to steal Amish children. And he said, I already got an underground dugout. It's got bars. I've got the key for that. It's underground. Nobody knows where it's at. It's out in the forest and some of the property I have. I've got police vests, police uniforms, and I got the handcuffs, and I got how you can look just like a police officer. And he said the Amish people, they never say no, and they'll get into that car if you're dressed like that. We can handcuff them. We're gonna take them to that underground thing, and whenever we sell them, then we can get them and sell them and get the money. And so I have to go back in my cell. So I'm back in my cell, and he's pacing out there, and he's still trying to talk to me through the bars. He goes, "That's a pretty good deal, $100,000. It's no big deal. We can get a couple Amish kids here." And he was talking about continue to do this. And he said, "I've got the underground bunker. Nobody can hear him scream. There's nothing." And so he's getting out before me because I'm not agreeing to anything. I'm up there on false charges anyway. So I'm not agreeing. I'm not signing any papers. I'm in there for a long duration. I've already set my mind to 2 years because I know how this system works and what they can do and how they can manipulate it to keep you in these systems until they can try to get you to sign a paper or to agree that you did something wrong, which I did not do. So this young man is getting out. My thing is now a person comes in and tells me that they have cancer from the outside world, someone I know. And I know how to cure that and how to help them with that. And so they asked me to take a plea bargain that says I was a menace, but I was in my own yard, but I was supposed to be a menace. And that's the only way that they're going to let me out to go help this person. And that's what gets me a lot of times, which I don't want to do that ever again, to lower what I'm doing to help someone else. Because if I stay the way I am, I know how to get through that. But when someone else or something else happens that interferes with that and I have to change direction, I'm always getting the worst end of that deal. So the young man's getting out of jail. He says, I'll give you a call, which I didn't give my number. But he says, I'll come by and I'll talk to you, or I'll wait for you when you get out. I'll be around. And then I still have a half a month left in that jail cell. So I don't think about that anymore. I just do my time. They finally released me. Time served for not doing anything. But then I go and help this person. We cure their cancer. They're cancer free now. They don't have to worry about that anymore. But as soon as I got out, a friend picked me up and I said, I need to go and there's one to take me out to eat, because I was starving, thirsting there, which I did go have a quick breakfast, but I said, but I have to go and talk to that Amish guy that cuts my wood. And so that person says, okay. And they take me right there straight to them. We pull up and he's outside with his kids and we park and I said, I'll just be a minute. I get out and he's cutting some wood at his little portable saw and he sees me and he comes over and he's like, hey, I hadn't seen you in a while. I'm like, yeah, it's been a while. As a matter of fact, that's why I wanted to come and talk to you. I just got out of jail. And he looked at me like, jail? Because he'd always known me from just cutting wood, helping the youth, getting these ceremonies going. He knows me as who I am. So it's like, yeah, I just got out of jail. And I told him the reason that the charges were false and that I was, stopping a pipeline and falsified charges on me just to get me out of the way. That pipeline did go through because I wasn't there. Everybody else fell. Everybody else let it go through. Nobody else stopped it. But I sat down and told him I just got out of jail and that there's a young man in there that's out now. And he wanted me to go in with a deal with him to steal Amish children. At this time, I didn't know that this guy that I'm talking to, I just know him as the guy that I know, the guy that I joke around with. But I didn't know at that time that he was one of the head people of the Amish society of that whole area, all the way to Ohio and the New York area. I didn't know that. I thought, he was just as normal people go, just normal Amish person, a good guy. So we sat down and we talked, and telling him that this guy's got, from what he told me, he's got police uniforms. If he hasn't already, he's going to steal Amish children. I told him when I was in there, when that young man was in there at the same time. And so he's sitting back and just listening to me talk and everything. And so I told him, I said, well, I got to go. I got to still get back to my own place and everything. I just got out. Just wanted to come by and talk to you first. And before I had to go, because I don't know the Amish community. You do. But I'll be back to have some wood cut or something. And I wished him a good day. And he sat there and he was rubbing his kind of beard, just kind of rubbing. And he said, okay. It's all right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for the information. I said, okay. I said, well, I'll see you around. I'm going. Got in the vehicle and went on about my business. It was maybe a month or two later after that. I needed some more wood cut. So I'm coming back down and pulling in, and he's getting his kid, because I back a trailer up, and he's getting these little kids, all the small Amish children, to help get that tree out and bring it over. And, he's not letting me, because usually I'll help him do it. And so he's not, he says, no, don't worry about it. They'll get it. He goes, I want to talk to you. I said, okay. And he said, right after you left, I called the sheriff because that's not a normal conversation. He said, so I called the sheriff and I talked to him about you. I told him your name. Told him the story that you told me. And he said he knows exactly who the Amish guy was talking about. He said, I know exactly who you're talking about. The sheriff did. He said, okay, we're going to go look into this more thoroughly because that's a lot of detail. That's not just somebody saying, let's go do this and try to get a plan going. This guy has a lot of details. So the sheriff went and checked this guy out because they still have his information. They still know where he lives. They searched the land. They found the police uniforms. They found the handcuffs. They found that he finally led them out there, but he did find and gave them the location of that underground bunker with the bars for people. And then he told me that thanks to that information, they also found out that that young man's sister sold her child to a dealer for drugs in Syracuse, New York. They were able to arrest that woman through this, and they was able to get that child back. And whenever he told me that, to me, it was just that they was able to get all that done because I didn't have any power to do that. I was only the messenger, as you would say. Once, and so he goes, well, I'm gonna cut the wood and everything. I said, okay, well, I'm just gonna wait over here, but I'm glad, that child was safe and everything was taken care of, and that guy's arrested and everything was found so that more people aren't taken. And that the little Amish children, they loaded all the wood for me, they strapped it down and everything. And I come over, I said, so what's the damage? How much do I owe you? And he's told me I don't have to pay for uh, getting my wood cut anymore. He said, anytime you need wood cut, bring it here. I'll cut it. And he thanked me for that, and I appreciated it. And we're still friends today. And if I ever need any wood cut, that's where I would go, all the way to New York just to see him. But it
So
was,
all that wood you cut got replaced too. I mean, you ended up getting wood too.
yeah. So I did a lot of free cutting of wood for other people, and now I get free wood cut for myself. So, but that
You're
is
just storing it in New York.
yeah, we're just storing it in New York. But we do appreciate everybody listening. These are steps to all this knowledge, to the Bigfoot, all of the hidden knowledge. And so this story also, when we talked about the people who had the sky knowledge, you had the Egyptian knowledge, you had the medicine herb knowledge, you had the star knowledge, you had the astrology knowledge, you had the ceremony knowledge. All that information also is leading me into different areas. So when my journey was through in that area, I had to, there was another stone tablet that I wanted to learn about, and that was the Aztec Sunstone. I studied the Egyptian, the Ojibwe, the sky map of the universe, but I didn't know what the Aztec Sunstone was. I knew of it. So after I gained all the knowledge for the stars and everything, I went to California, and to a place called Martinez, California. It's right where the fires ended. But this is the Aztec Sunstone.
Get the other one.
Yeah, when I went to California, I wanted to learn about those monuments, those hieroglyphs. I'd seen them before, but I didn't know what they were. But I've studied all these other hieroglyphs, all these other tablets, copper tablets, manuscripts. So I'm learning about this gentleman, and he's the premier. He's the one who knows everything about the Aztec Sunstone. He's the speaker. He travels around the world speaking about this. I finally get to meet him. I'm at his house. He's bringing up a computer, and he's got the Aztec Sunstone, and he's bringing up a symbol. This is this. This is this. This is a symbol for a season. This is a symbol for the moon. This is a symbol for a portal. This is a symbol for a butterfly. This is a symbol for, and they all have meaning, and all the symbols. It's a big combination lock. These go this way. The inner ones go this way. The closer ones go this way. It's a big combination lock when portals line up, when things can come in, when things can go out. To me, that's when we're vulnerable also. So I'm looking at, and I've already know the Legend of Time. I know that story, and that story is in that book. And if you read that story, a lot of this makes sense to you. And if you don't start with the Legend of Time, you'll always be wrong. You got to start with that. But the Bible starts in a different way, but it's the same way. It's a story told a different way. But you'll always be wrong about the Bigfoot if you don't start with the Legend of Time. Let's say it that way. You'll always be wrong about the Bigfoot if you don't start off with the Legend of Time. So the premier, his name is Masatson. He's teaching me about the front of the Aztec Sunstone. And then finally, because I'm looking at, okay, that's the season, that's the dates, those are the moons, those are houses, temples. I see the animals, I see the change and everything. But it's telling me it's a lock. It's telling me when it opens, when it closes, how to use it. But it's not really telling me why it's here. Why is this lock here? Why do we have to know all this? And then he goes, well, let me show you this other thing too. So he pulls up this other program, and it's shooting little inscriptions. Here's one up here in this corner, one right there, one right here. And it's putting all these symbols with names and inscriptions out all the way around into a circle. And he goes, what a lot of people don't know about the Aztec sunstone is that this is what they see. This is what they see. What I'm showing you is right here on the side. This is what is on the side. This is the face of it, but this is what's on the side. This is what's on the side of that. This is what people don't know. Now, whenever he started shooting up the symbols and everything and showing me, and he was putting the words with them and what they mean and who they are, and now he's showing me the names of these configurations, which I see them as monsters. But he's getting names to the house, names to the forked-tongued jaguar, names to different objects and things that are in that on the side. But he's not telling me what they mean. He's showing me this is what this is. This is what the name of this is. But he's not telling me what the whole thing is about. He's not telling me the story. Is it a story? What are you trying to tell me? You're showing me it's a lock. Okay, you're showing me that there's inscriptions on the side, but you're not telling me anything. You're not telling me what this is for. What is it?
What's the point?
What's the point of it? And he couldn't tell me that. But I know the legend of time, and it's in the book, it's in the documentary. The legend of time is the same thing as the Aztec sunstone. It's the same thing as the Egyptian Dendra zodiac. Same thing as the Voynich manuscript. The same thing as the Ojibwe sky map, the map of the universe. It's all the same story around the world, but he didn't know this story. He didn't know the story of the legend of time. Also, the Aztec sunstone has to be read upside down and backwards. That's the only way you can read it. And he didn't know that. He reads it straight up. If you're reading straight up, you're backwards and upside down already. So he didn't know that. So I started, once I seen those symbols, and a lot of people don't know this either, but it's not an Aztec sunstone and it's not a Mayan calendar. It's a Mexican. It's Mexican hieroglyphs. It belongs to the Mexican people. It was taken, it was moved, and was used and renamed. But so he told me this. He showed me the hieroglyphs. He showed me the names of them. He's not telling me what it's about. But I know the legend of time. I know the Egyptian Dendra zodiac and all the other tablets and manuscripts. So I have a portable, small, and it was a bigger one at that time, a portable computer at that time. We have a different one now, thanks to Team L. But so I pulled out that laptop and I start typing. And I typed 21 pages. And that's one of the books that I wrote. I think it's the fourth book I wrote called The Aztec Sunstone. No, it's called The Completion of Time. The Aztec Sunstone Deciphered. That was the fourth book that I wrote. But and it also has the Fibonacci sequence in there that I also use to decipher. But so I write 21 pages, and I make that in just a regular book. And I hand him that the PDF, because I'll make it into a PDF so I can leave it with him. There's another guy who's there with him who also studies with him, but this premier guy did not share that information with his, what's it called?
Assistant?
Apprentice, I guess you would say. He didn't share the information that I gave him. He didn't share that information with his apprentice. He kept that with him. And I don't know if he either is using it or don't want to use it or doesn't want to speak anymore again because everything that he said before is wrong. It's right in the way, but it is still wrong. So he would be, yeah, incomplete, I would say. He would be contradicting himself unless he read that book and used it the right way. But the Bigfoot is in the Mexican tablets, which people call the Aztec Sandstone, and the um, Mayan calendar. If I can get that one more time. But and that this is what we're leading into also. The next Standing Feather Stories is we're going to go back into the hieroglyphs. We're also going to be bringing up the Egyptian Dendra Zodiac. We're going to teach you how to read those hieroglyphs with the deciphering key, The Legend of Time, which is in the book, which is in the documentary also. But we're going to teach you these symbols. We're going to teach you how to read the Egyptian Dendra Zodiac and the Aztec Sunstone in the next episode of Standing Feather Stories. But we wanted to share some of this information with you tonight. Next time, we're going to be going into the hieroglyphs. We're going to show you where the configuration is of the predator Bigfoot and how it came to be. We are Bigfoot experts. We do know this. We're the only ones who could teach you these hieroglyphs, these tablets, these manuscripts. We're the only ones who could teach you this. There's no other Bigfoot groups who could teach you these hieroglyphs or explain this to you, or write a book the way we did that we have out now in PDF form only right now. It will be on Kindle or soft back soon, whenever we can get the rest or the back page back to us from the publisher. But we're going to make you experts so that you don't have any more questions. The other night when we had a segment with spiritual warrior preparation, we didn't, because of the way that we closed and the way we did things, we didn't have a chance to go back and do the comments like we're going to do in just a minute. But we didn't have that chance because we closed with a prayer and the voice of a friend of ours who has made that journey, has all the answers now. His name was Parkway, that everyone would know. It was Greg, but everyone knew him as Parkway. Great guy, part of our team who had this knowledge also. He listened to the programs and learned as much as he could. So next week, or the next, it may be in a couple days, but we're going to be teaching about the hieroglyphs, how to read them, where the Bigfoot is, where the configuration came from, how the Bigfoot came to be. We are the experts. No one else can teach you this. Any other Bigfoot group, ask them where the Bigfoot came from. Ask them to show you where the Bigfoot came from. Ask them to show you configuration, how it came to be. They can't do that. Only we can. And we're going to do that, but we're going to progress, not just showing you where it is, but we're going to show you more hieroglyphs, more information, more books to where to find this information for yourself. If you want to waste time, did the legwork. We can show you exactly where everything is. Save you time. We're like the shortcut to your information. In that book, Predator Bigfoot and the Spiritual Warrior's Path, it has a lot of information that you need, your family needs, your community needs. These other Bigfoot groups need them. The ones that go out, researchers, you need these books. Grandmothers, hand them to your children. Grandmothers, study those. You need it. You can help protect your family with that book. But we're going to do the comments.
Yes, and also, and so if you were on the show last night and we didn't get to your comments, and we saw some new names in there, and now you understand why, and we hope that you're back again and that you come back again. But because of the subject matter of the last story, we want to stress again, we have 2 Facebook pages that specifically related to this kind of thing: Choctaw Missing and Murdered Woman, WOMBMAN, and Sun Center and Database on Facebook, and also the Oklahoma Bigfoot Predator Watch page, Antlers and surrounding areas.
One thing about last night also that we didn't get to those comments, and we do apologize, but if you watched last night, you understand why. But the beauty of it was our trackers, people who've been with this channel for a while, even though we could not get to those comments to answer those questions, every question was answered by different trackers who was in the room.
We were so proud.
We were so proud. We were looking like, there's the answer. We don't even have to answer anything.
Yeah, so thank y'all for doing that.
And we're very proud to know y'all and know that you take this serious, that you know the answers now.
That you're teaching others.
That you're teaching others. You're giving them the answers. There's no more running around. There's no more giving opinions. There's no more guessing. We can give you the direct answers now. Yeah. All of our trackers can. So there's many experts out there. It's not just one, not just two. And we're going to be teaching where these things are in the hieroglyphs. We're going to teach you to be the experts. You're hired just by reading that book, looking at the documentary, staying with this channel. You're above the researchers. You have more information than they do. Stick with the channel, learn as much as you can, and we promise you, you will be that expert. If you've been with us for a while, you know pretty much everything that we do. We've taught the hieroglyphs, we taught the Fibonacci sequence, we've taught the symbols. If you've been with us for a while, some of this is just old stuff. But if you haven't been, please stay with the channel so we can teach you, so that you can be safe out there and you can teach your family to be safe out there. So
we're going to go through the comments.
And this is the place and the time that Lead Tracker E likes the best, when she gets to go through the comments and but we'll get to those. Just hang on. We're going to read the comments and we're going to get to those, and we welcome everybody.
Let's see. Judy Wheeler, hello.
Hello, Judy.
JR says, howdy, y'all. Good to be here.
Good job, JR.
Darcy's here. Hello, everyone.
Darcy.
D says, hello, hello.
All right, D.
Hey, where's Joe Blow? Joe Blow, if you're out there, holler at us.
Yeah, and Cliff.
Trackers and Mr. L. Tracker C.
Mr. B.
Yep. Tracker C's here.
Tracker C, all right.
He was one answering those questions last night.
Sure was. We were so happy. We were so happy.
Christian Pratt. Hello, Christian.
Christian, I don't know if we got to say hello to you last night, but
we did.
Double hello today. Dos hola.
Julie's back.
Julie.
Hey, Julie.
Good to hear from you, Julie.
More hellos.
Junior.
More greetings. Junior's here. Hey,
Eddie
Junior.
Patch. Eddie's here.
Patch. Good.
Harper.
Harper. Hey, family.
All right, Harper.
Judy Scarborough's back with us. Hey, Scarborough. And he put out a cool tribute video for Parkway also. Y'all check out his station.
And I do believe that Katrina Starr, I think I just seen announcement that she also put a tribute out for Parkway. So
good.
Also check out Katrina Starr's channel.
Okay.
Blue Star.
Yeah, she's got a couple of them. Good. There was something else I was going to say to Scarborough. I'll think of it in a minute.
Scarborough.
He has a hard time saying Scarborough.
Scarborough. I had a time.
I had Scarborough.
Scarborough. Yeah, I had a time with that last time. I said it like 30, 40 times just practicing and still couldn't. It ended up sounding like it was a Spanish name after a while. I was like, let me just stop.
Yeah, he started rolling his R's. He tried practicing so he could say it.
So let's just stop there because it's starting to sound like it's a Spanish name.
Judy's got praise hands.
All right, Judy.
Let's see. More hellos, which I'm going to skip past the highs, but we're very glad we know y'all are making so
Yes.
many friendships in here. Judy says, that's amazing. That was about the wood. Dee says, just tell the snakes not to bother you and they won't.
Yeah.
Sudi S from Australia says, how do I order the book? Love from Australia. And I told Sudi that they're in the description box.
Okay, good, Sue.
Information.
And great meeting you.
Yes,
or
it
hearing
is.
from you.
Glad you're here. It's all the way from Australia.
Judy's always giving us hearts. That's awesome. Love that.
City says, the more power structures try to coerce, the more you should be worried. Glad you stayed strong, Jerry. No to any shots. That's right.
Yeah.
Henry's here. Hey, Henry.
Henry, all right.
Eddie says, praise God.
Eddie Patch,
Absolutely
all right.
about those kids. It's like, it's such a huge story. It's such a horrifying story. And also, y'all go watch the movie that's out, and you can get free tickets too, for the human trafficking movie that's out. Somebody can say the name of it. I can't remember it right now. Something freedom. Junior says, don't forget to smash the like button. Yes, please do that. Best advice anywhere. Hit that like button, says Tracker C. Thank you, Tracker C.
Yes, if y'all can't hit that like button, let's build that up. Let's get some more. And check your subscriptions, because a lot of people are being unsubscribed.
Judy says, this is wonderful knowledge. Thank you, Jerry and Ella. Thank you, Judy.
Thank you, Judy.
Judy says they will say that they don't know. That's it. The people that ask them where they come from. Ask them how to read the zodiac, or I mean the sunstone. She said they'll say they don't know.
Yeah.
At the same time, they'll say, but there's no experts. But I don't know, so therefore nobody else can know. Tracker C says Parkway is now the most knowledgeable, for he has 100% recall from the other side.
Yeah, sure is.
I don't know what this one is. Let's see. Parkway, more prayers and hearts. Darcy says, yes, he does. Harper says, always a blessing. Thank you so much for sharing. Dee says, I absolutely respect that title. You guys are the best. Thank you.
Thank you, Dee. Thank you, Dee.
Judy saying hi. More highs. Linda came in the room.
All right,
Hey,
Linda.
Glad you're here. She's just been being quiet. Judy says, shout out to Katrina Starr. Yeah, she's a hardworking woman.
Yeah, check out Katrina Starr, and I think she just put up a video tribute for Parkway also. So check her out. And she is a strong, bold woman too.
Yep. Even if you don't agree with her, you will respect her.
Yeah. She will let you know.
Doris Diaz, you were one we didn't.
Doris.
We saw you last night there, Doris. Glad you're back. Hola.
Glad you're back, Doris.
Tracker C says Jerry and Ella, or Jerry and Tracker E, I'm set up for the conference. That's great.
All right, Tracker C.
They did call and talk to us the other night, and we told them we're very excited for you to be able to get up there and tell your story. We're very, very proud of you.
Hope you film it so we can see it.
Oh, that'd be cool. That'd be cool. And we're proud of you, and you haven't even got there yet.
Yeah.
Let's see. Nathan's here. Hey, Nathan.
Nathan, good to hear from you. It's been a while.
He says, howdy, y'all. Bob is here. Bob says,
all right.
Bob says, if I ask my detractors to show me where the Bigfoot came from, I will most assuredly get blocked, leading to a very anticlimactic ending. Jerry, you are making me even more dangerous.
Knowledge is dangerous.
Doris says, we're talking to Judy. Let's see. And then the rest is just more greetings.
Oh, good.
So I think that we're caught up on comments, and just knew that you guys would really appreciate those stories. And oh, did you show them this?
Oh, this is also from the clan mother. She gave me a medicine tobacco pouch. It is from the Bear Clan mother. She also gave me a ribbon shirt, except that I gave that to a young warrior because he didn't have one and he needed one for a specific task and duty, which was to row down a river and stop the Nina and Pita Columbus ships. So I gave him my ribbon shirt to wear.
And he's serious. They still come back through.
Yeah. And we did stop
The
him.
replicas, right?
We did stop him.
And they did stop him. That's another good story. We'll have that story too.
Another good story.
Yeah, there's lots more stories coming.
So next time we get together, we're going to advance. We're going to keep going. We're going to be bringing up the hieroglyphs. We're going to be teaching how to read the hieroglyphs. We're going to show you where the Bigfoot is in hieroglyphs. We're going to show you the combination and the configurations of where these things come from. I was also going to say, yeah.
Tracker C says, thanks, and I'll do my best, warriors. Tracker C, you already know more than 99% of the people there. You'll do fine. Nathan says, God bless everyone. Judy says, that's beautiful about the medicine bag. Eddie says, question, heard the story of a chief who happened upon a Bigfoot mauled by a bear. Chief brought Bigfoot back to the tribe and nursed back to health. After much time, Bigfoot healed and carried Chief back to Bigfoot's mountain. In cave where Bigfoot told other Bigfoots, we no more eat people. Is this true?
No.
And Judy says, hello, Eddie.
But you got to wonder where that chief went.
Not one time have I ever seen him try to track down when people will say the native said this or the native said that. In regards to Bigfoot being a friend and a big brother, when he tries to say who exactly said that, not once has he ever gotten anybody to be able to narrow down who exactly it was that said it.
And also, society teaches people to hate the Indians, to fear the Indians. But as society and history goes, you do want people to not get to know us because of atrocities that happened to us prior. So it is better for people to think that we're the bad ones.
Yeah, they don't want them hearing the true story.
They don't want y'all hearing the true stories. And that's because of the things, the atrocities, the theft, the rape, the murder, things that happened before, massacres and things like that that our people were blamed on. But these and massacres, those were Bigfoots. Those were creatures that were just ripping people apart. When people talk about burial grounds in sacred Indian areas, yes, we do have a burial ground over there. Yes, that is a place where we had ceremonies. Yes, that is a place where we live. Yes, that is a place where energy focuses to and from. But those Bigfoots that are coming to kill people in those areas, those don't belong to Indians. Those don't belong to us. Those are not our friends. Those are not our ancestors. Those are not any kind of lost tribe of us. Those are predators there to eat, hunt, and kill. So when you'll see in the movie, they'll say, oh, that's an Indian burial ground. That's why all this stuff is happening. No, that's because there's a predator over there hunting you. There's a ghost in the house. No, that's a translucent predator hunting you. That's not because you're treading on where we had a ceremony.
And they put a curse on you.
Yeah, not that the Indians put a curse on that land. We don't do that. But those predators, those creatures live there. So people can't say that, well, everyone who goes over there dies. Yes, that's true. There's a predator over there. It's not because an Indian put a curse or something like that. Don't fall for that stuff. Ask the Indians. And if you hear a quote, if you hear something like that, find out who said it. Find out what tribe said it, what person said it. Otherwise, there's people who make up quotes and things all the time and say, well, the Indian said it. That's a Lakota saying. That's a...
You know, one thing I noticed in almost every documentary we've seen on the Bigfoot shows, it's been a white person sitting there saying, well, the natives say this and the natives say that. And every time we're like, why isn't the native sitting there talking about it? You know, why are you speaking for them? And then some of them even finish it up with, but you know, that's, I'm not Native American, so I'm just letting you know what.
Also, though,
And that's in documentaries.
Also in those documentaries, it's not the Indian telling you the story. It's a non-native telling you.
Yeah.
And even if the natives are saying, yeah, these things will eat you and rip you apart and everything like that, they're going to talk to the one Indian that says, oh, I gifted them and we're friends. I don't hang out with them, but you know, they haven't hurt me. That documentary is going to say, well, they don't all agree on what the Bigfoot is. But you're going to have 100 saying it's a predator killer, but you're going to have that one saying, oh, we gifted, we talked to it, or whatever. That documentary is going to take that one from that one and give it to you. But
and those people just didn't get eaten yet.
Yeah.
Their food in the pantry. They're the rancher's livestock. Yeah.
So if you want the information, ask the Indian. Don't look for a quote. Don't try to go around and find it in the history book. Ask the Indian. We got millions of people
that actually know.
Yeah, ask the ones who know. Don't just ask any Indian. There's some Indians who still try to gift and things like that because they don't know.
Which is what the bulk of your journeys were about, was going to talk to the original, trying to get as far back to the closest original source for the information.
Mm-hmm.
Talking to the elders. And
lots of years of gathering information, gathering knowledge.
Eddie Petch says, listen to thousands of encounters so I forget source, possibly Cat Hansen or Sasquatch Chronicles. Yeah, and they may not have even said the source. They probably just said, you know, repeated a story that they had heard.
What was that? What was it said?
That I just read that one. Listen to thousands of encounters so forget the source. He's talking about the story he was asking the questions of.
Oh, okay.
Tracker C says, Eddie, you can't change a leopard's spots and you can't change a Bigfoot's eating habits.
Right? Hey, there you go, right there.
JR says, amazing. An incarceration under false premise put you where you needed to be in order to save many children. And that's divine intervention, divine orchestration. It's
yeah, and
that's what turn all things to good.
I'm glad you got that, because that's the point we was getting to. I knew I was going to be okay in jail.
You were teaching people in jail while you were in there.
And even teaching there. But it was a divine orchestration to get me into jail at that time.
With that person.
With this person. So that
the
animal. So we could save those people and more people, because that whole group was caught.
Yeah. Eddie says, thank you for sharing your life experiences.
You're welcome, Eddie. We got more, because this journey doesn't stop here. We've got a lot more to share with you.
JR says, need to get you in contact with Jim Caviezel and Angel Studios for producing a Sound of Freedom type movie. That's the name of the movie. Yeah. So this actually relates to that. And also that a lot of the people disappearing are disappearing to Bigfoots.
Yeah.
D says, the Indians I know don't know anything about Bigfoot. Yeah. And Judy Wheeler says, this is so important. Agreed.
Yeah, there's a lot of Indians who don't know anything about the Bigfoot.
Civilized, yeah.
And they're relying on the same thing as a lot of people do, these Bigfoot channels that whoop and call and get people into trouble, as far as death and stalked and harassed. But I'm glad you did catch that, because this is about that relationship, but also putting certain people in certain situations who the world knows, God knows, Jesus knows, is not going to just let it blow over their head.
Right.
Who's going to take that information serious,
be a warrior about it.
Get it, and do what needs to be done. So these other groups, read the book first. Get the book. Once you get the book, read that. A lot of our trackers already have. Then look at other channels. Look at what they're doing. Look at the documentaries. Read their books. See what is different from our book to their book. I will guarantee you, once you read our book, you're going to understand what is out there, what you can do, and the steps that need to be taken now.
And education versus entertainment.
Just like this channel, it's an education channel. It's not an entertainment channel.
And so when it seems like we're really strict about some things, that's why we want to always stay at that where you guys are learning. That's how that's what we look for in channels, and really a lot of the people that say we can all learn from each other, there's just been very little that.
Yeah, we haven't learned anything from anybody else.
Just very, very little from Vol.
Vault, or was it? Somebody was talking about mugwort.
And things like that was Vol.
Was it Vault?
Yeah, and but other than that, as far as origin and things like that, we've not heard from anyone in any of the Bigfoot groups. So
now, even being ridiculed with that name, I've been on many different groups, many different channels, who were a part of this saying there's no such thing as a Bigfoot expert. And I've offered every one of them, get the world's best researchers, best Bigfoot documentary people, the best trackers, best scientists, get all them together and let's have a conversation.
let them talk to us.
Let them talk to us. And I can guarantee you we're going to give them answers. They're not going to give us answers, but we can give them answers.
We've been at vending shows where the people would come outside to talk to us because they would just said they wouldn't get answers inside. Nothing they were asking was getting answered on the inside with all the notable speakers. So
yeah,
we're glad you're here.
And we're glad everybody's learning together. That's what it's about. We have to share this information with everybody. Everybody has to have the same information. Times are here.
So we know what we're dealing with. Yeah, people keep saying it's coming, it's coming. No, they're here. They're already here. It's already begun. You're just in the beginning stages of it. Judy says, Tracker C, Tracker C says, yes, Judy, you won't hear this anywhere else. Judy says, Tracker C, I wholeheartedly agree. No one anywhere else is speaking about this at all, and they'll all say they don't have the answers. Judy says, I listened to many, but in the end, there are no answers. Tracker C says, you won't find another book with all the info that this book covers. Thank you, Tracker C. Wow. We worked hard on it.
And a lot of people have to understand.
And we could have put so much more in it.
Yeah, we could have.
We had to rein it in.
But people have to understand we're not, sometimes we do go into the mountains, but most of the activity and disturbances are in towns. They're neighborhoods. Yeah. Cities.
In 2020, the floodgates opened.
Most of these places, and the way people describe their places, I'm thinking when one of our trackers said that he lives just outside of town, I'm thinking that town's over here, he lives out here in a wooded area. But what he meant was he's just on the outside. There's a major store, major road, and where that line is, he lives right there. He's still in the town.
We're talking about behind Sonic, behind Jiffy Lube, behind hotels.
In front of a neighborhood,
Yeah.
That's where these activities are happening.
A busy Houston suburb home, walking track by schools, churches, wedding venues, you name it. Daycares, that's the most disturbing.
We got signed here, and we're probably the smallest town in the world, probably. We went to Houston, which is one of the biggest cities. We found Bigfoot sign and Bigfoot there inside the Houston.
If anyone considers paying some researcher thousands of bucks to take you out looking for Bigfoot, you are a fool with your money, because just keep watching the channel. You'll learn exactly where to go look for things if that's really what you're determined to do. Save your money. Don't let those people use you for bait and just a money ticket. It's foolishness. They'll get you killed.
Our book is on PDF file right now until we can get that back covered. Then it will go into Kindle, I believe. But it's the only way that you can get that book right now. All of our trackers have that book. A lot of people from this channel have that book. They've already studied it, written reviews, and they're reading it over.
We also encourage you to go back and look at the older videos
Yes.
and live streams because some of them are disappearing.
Yeah.
We had so many things. There's almost 300 there, I think, or were, but they're going off. So please go back and look at those and watch it. Just binge on it like you do Netflix and learn a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot of information that's disappearing, and it behooves a person to get as much information as you possibly can for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You're not gathering it for your whole family, which you do, and you can gift that to them, but you have to learn. You have to gather for yourself. You have to have the knowledge. You have to do it yourself.
Of your home and your family and your neighborhood.
That's how you do it.
That's how we make a difference, and that's how they can't stop all of us.
And if we all got the same information, we are powerful.
Mm-hmm.
We know what's coming.
Bernice is in the room.
Tracker B got here. That's great.
We're not running out on you. It's just that we're finished pretty much. Let's see. Tracker C says the veil has thinned, and that's bringing them closer to cities. Absolutely. Yep. When everybody was hiding inside and told to stay in, that's when they advanced.
And they are setting traps up left and right around every home, apartment, daycare, city, town, dumpster, McDonald's, Walmart, Burger King, those dumpsters. Go back there and look. There's traps set up there. There's pull downs. Those dumpsters will be raided at nighttime where everybody's asleep. They know the routines.
Harper is you're showing up on the one phone, the main phone that we're looking at and talking into. It says in the last days millions will be killed by the beast of the field. Could be Bigfoot. Yes, that's what we say too.
It will be Bigfoot, and all the hybrids together, even the crows.
But look, it's weird that Harper's, so we can see it on the live stream, but when I'm looking on my phone, your comment there is just skipped between Tracker C's and Judy's. Harper, that's pretty weird. We're very controlled in the information. Judy says, I need to get this PDF, and I have binge watched all your videos. Good, Judy.
Good, Judy.
And we appreciate your positive support always.
And the Cash App is also in the description below also.
Bernice says, yes, they are closer to the cities and towns. She's one that knows about them at the dumpster and right up in her very busy neighborhood.
They're right. And when we met Tracker B, the way she described it, we thought she was out in the woods, out in the woods, surrounded by wooded mountain or wooded terrain. And there was a long driveway. When we get there, we find out she's right in the middle of the town.
Yeah.
Right in the middle of a neighborhood, and there are Bigfoot right building blinds in her backyard.
Judy says, I have 4 grandchildren. Oldest is 10. Yeah, they're going to attract a lot of attention, Judy.
Yeah, sure are.
She says, I paid attention when I found a star structure 100 feet from our front porch. Good, because about 250 feet from where I found a star structure was the largest boneyard we've ever found. Harper says, I don't see a Harper comment. Yeah, see, we can see it on our main screen, but not on
this one.
Not on the phone where I'm just logged in. But I read it out loud anyway. That's another reason we read the comments out. Harper says, I'm weird anyway. You fit in just fine here then. Harper, that's a requirement. Henry says, all messages versus top messages, top right. Where? I don't have that option in here. Oh, wait. Thank you. I appreciate that. I apologize, Facebook. That was my bad, not yours.
No.
We've just been screwed with so many times. Or I said Facebook, I meant YouTube. So hopefully that fixed it. Judy says also found arches and X's, 3 of them together. Yeah. Hopefully y'all can get, if that's on your property, you guys can get that all knocked down out of there now when the leaves start falling.
And if anybody wants to get that PDF, the Cash App or PayPal is in the description, and we can send that out to you right away.
Bernice says we have a lot of bow structures in town right by the cemetery. Yeah.
They're in town.
And they want to be there too, where the people are grieving. That's an opening. They want to be by that trauma. They want to be by the dead bodies. They just love the graveyards. Harper says I watch on Fire Stick on Big TV and comment on phone. Harper's got it down to a science. And Henry says, hey, Judy. And thank you, Henry, for showing me how to do that. Let's see. Well, Judy said, oh, wow, Ella, about the structures being close to the boneyard. Yeah, that was very disturbing. So I guess that's it for the night.
We're going to be talking about hieroglyphs, how to read them, where the Bigfoot is in the hieroglyphs, this origin, this configuration. Like we said, no other group is going to teach you this or tell you this, but they will tell you that we're not the experts, even though we're going to be teaching hieroglyphs.
You know who doesn't tell us that, though, is the people that we've actually gone and helped and taught. They don't say we're not the experts. They say, oh, yeah, they're the experts, all right.
Yeah. And the people that know us, even who just know us personally, know that we're telling the truth. So we want to thank everybody for your time tonight. We appreciate it. We will be back with more of these. Also with more tracking miracles encounters, and more of our morning tracker talks and
regular lessons.
The regular lessons also.
We really appreciate you guys being here. So we'll pray to close. We have 32 people in the room.
Oh, good.
That's awesome, dude. Well, we want to say hi to 32 people.
Hi to 32 people. Be here for our next one. We're going to be teaching hieroglyphs, where the Bigfoot came from, the origin, configuration, and how to read the hieroglyphs and what they're about.
Yeah. Eddie says he loves your shirt. Could you tell him about your shirt?
Oh, this shirt is actually a ceremony shirt for the summer solstice. It was going to be 2 colors. One side was going to be red, the left side, because once the summer solstice comes over in the middle, it starts going into the hot season, which August 24th is the hottest day of the year. So it'd be going on this side and downward. But this side is supposed to be the yellow side up to the summer solstice time. So it is a ceremony shirt. If you did see, I did a picture with the ceremony of the summer solstice. And I believe I was wearing the shirt also, but it is for ceremonies or for speaking.
Darcy says, thank you, Jerry and Ella, for sharing your knowledge. Harper says, thank you for the info. Judy says, looking forward to more. And Junior says, can we please say a prayer for the people and children that died in Maui? Absolutely. Okay, we'll close out with a prayer. Father, we do pray for all those people that have died in Maui, in particular the children. We know that it didn't catch you by surprise, and we pray that you will reveal every tactic of the enemy and reveal why it happened, who did it, and what's going on, Lord, because we know it's suspicious circumstances. And we repent for what has been done. If there's been evil, Lord, be merciful. We love you. We thank you for being here with us. We thank you for providing us this platform. We ask that you give people the eyes to see and the ears to hear the things that we're trying to teach, and let them always go back to you in prayer, and go back to, for the believers to go back to the Bible and line up what they learn here. We thank you for everything. In Jesus' name, amen.
Also, check out Katrina Starr. Also, she just put up a tribute for Parkway, I believe so. So check that out. Also, we will be back.
She's also Blue Sky.
Also, Blue Sky.
Let me see the name. 1 second.
But you can also look under Katrina Starr as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, just go ahead and look that up.
So we'll be with us again very soon so we can learn those hieroglyphs. And you'll know more than any other researcher out there. Once you know where these things come from, where they are, the configuration has all been in front of us all this time. We just need to know what we're looking at.
And share these channels. Share this channel and the Late Tracker E channel.
Yeah.
Get these episodes out there so more people can see it.
Yeah.
Love
And
you.
thank you very much. If you can get that book, let us know. We'll send it right out to you. Get started on that information. And hopefully we can, in a month or two, maybe even 3 months, have like a book club kind of talk about it.
Yeah, that would be cool.
And see how much everyone has learned.
Yeah.
Friday, as Tracker C just reminded me, what's the
Tracker Me.
that's tomorrow?
Thursday? Yep, that's tomorrow. See you in the morning.
See you in the morning. Trackers, 9:30 in the morning, tracker meeting.
You get in the room until 9:30 and then it goes to private. And
Yeah.
those are for Patreon members.
And Patreon members. So trackers, we'll see you in the morning. Everybody have a great night. Good night, warriors, or good evening, warriors.
Good night.
Good night.